Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be about an energy update for the month of March 2020. So stay tuned. So if you've watched my channel before, then you remember that in different energy updates, what I actually do is I go into a meditative state and I try to foresee the type of energies that are going to come, and I see how my life projects outwards and inwards from the outside world. Now, usually what happens with me is that a couple of weeks before something happens, it starts happening to me. And this is because I think I'm a teacher, and it's because I'm a light worker, and it's because I have this YouTube channel that I have the ability or even the gift, I would say, to explain the things that are happening to me. And by that, you can see how the pitfalls that you can avoid in the energy upheavals and downfalls, and use it to the best of your ability. So I'm going to tell you 4 different things that I feel are coming. The first thing that I can tell you I feel, as spring is approaching as well, is that it's a time for resolution. And when I mean resolution, I mean that on all levels. It can start with personal resolution. What I see is that there's different things that are coming up in my life that I haven't really dealt with, and I've been postponing them. So there's the personal emotions about certain things. For example, in my world, right now my wife started learning Kabbalah lessons, and I have to deal with the fact that I've been traumatized by my father going rabbi when I was very young and having another family and 8 more kids, and I was forced to pray with them, and I was forced to dress in black and white, and now all these things are coming up. Why? Because I haven't dealt with them so far. And instead of dealing with them, I'm just victimizing myself, and I'm like playing the traumatized kid without taking responsibility for them. So that's like on a personal level. And then there's the resolution with the different relationships in your life. For example, if I'm going to ask you about one person that you need to go through a process of forgiveness with, and you will find that person. And if you find that person, in your mind, then that means that there's some sort of karmic pressure there or entanglement that you haven't healed. Sometimes it's years. Now, healing and forgiveness doesn't really happen outside of yourself. It happens only inside yourself. You can go into a meditative state. You can dream. I've had a dream where I healed a relationship of someone, a friend, an ex-friend that I got entangled with, and we got into this big, huge argument that ended up in court even. All these resolutions that you can create to yourself. So it begins with you and outside world, anything that has to do with society. Think about the things that you want to heal and take this new time to bring them up to the surface and just ask the question, how can I actually heal it? And usually the answer that will come is take responsibility for it, go through a process of forgiveness with it, put your focus on it and your intention on it instead of postponing it and not admitting that you have certain emotions about it, like sadness or frustration or anything like that. The second thing I can share with you that I feel is that there is heightened awareness. As the coolness of the winter slows down and we heat up, I feel that the awareness that is coming is in a few modalities. The first thing is that we have more and more awareness, or we're going to have more and more awareness to our feelings and then to our thoughts. And these are the 2 major things, right? There's the gate of the heart and then there's the gate of the mind. Now, as we are more aware of our thoughts, we're more aware of our limiting beliefs. For example, ask yourself, where did that thought come from? And the same thing goes to the heart. Now, if you're a person that works mostly with the gate of the heart, it's time with the gate of the mind, it's time to go for the gate of the heart. Where did that feeling come from? Or where did the lack of that feeling come from? In other words, why do I act like a robot sometimes? Why don't I love more? Why don't I accept more? Why don't I feel more? Sadness, positivity, excitement, love, all of them come together. So when you become aware of your feelings much more, and this is very easy, one of the exercises that I do is I just ask myself randomly throughout the day, how am I feeling right now? Now, it doesn't have to be in a specific scenario. It doesn't have to be somewhere that you know that you're going to have intense feeling. No. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? And this will immediately connect you to the present moment. Why? Because if I'm not feeling anything at all, why the hell am I living this life? Am I living this life for doing nothing? Am I a robot that goes into their car, that drives to work, that counts the hours until the end of the day, goes back home to a non-loving family and just goes to sleep? Am I living for my children, or am I living for feeling? And you become more and more aware of that. And that heightened awareness to that will make you and force you to act. If you don't feel, it means that you're missing out on something. You don't have to have your breakdown in order to understand that. You need to think about the resolutions. You need to think about the answers. You need to think about the solutions and what can make me feel more. Am I missing excitement? Am I missing falling in love? Am I missing, and then that's the heart. And the heightened awareness to your thoughts will cause you and create a solution to all of your limiting beliefs. Because you will start asking yourself, where did that thought come from? Where did that thought of judgment towards that person come from? Where did that thought about hatefulness, or where did that thought about, I don't know, fear from the coronavirus, for example, that they're talking about lately now? Where did that thought come from? And when you find it, then it's no longer a bandage. Now it's a solution. Because as you become more and more aware, you control them. You know that, wait a second, this doesn't serve me. I don't have to have that thought anymore. And then you override it with a positive thought. For example, if you have a colleague that you don't really like and you keep gossiping about them or judging them, now you know where that thought comes from. Because it's a reflection of something that you don't like within yourself. And then you say, okay, so it's inner work that I need to do. It's not even outside. It's not their fault for doing that or being that or being in a certain, characteristic that you don't appreciate. And the heightened awareness that you're going to have to your thoughts and your feelings are going to drastically bring all of that up. Now, of course, you can ignore it as you've done so far, but that will only bring you back to the exact same spot that you were before. And if you want to become awake and aware, in other words, when you want to grow, because life is about growth, we are about growth, then you have to start doing something about that. So, number 2 was heightened awareness. And number 3, which is associated with number 2, is that you will begin taking more and more responsibility for those things that the heightened awareness is going to bring you. Now, what do I mean when I say responsibility? Usually when I talk about responsibility, I talk about 2 phases. The first phase is assuming responsibility for our emotional state. Emotional state, in other words, the basic example is somebody said something bad about you or even cursed, and you assume responsibility for the way you feel. In other words, it's not that I am insulted, it's that I choose to be insulted. It's not that I'm sad, it's that I choose to be sad. And when you say that to yourself, it's a choice, then you understand that, wait a second, it is a conscious choice that I'm making. Now I'm playing the victim, and I'm not saying don't feel, I'm saying feel, but don't overreact. Don't play the victim itself. Enjoy that sensation, that negative sensation, because it gives you the contrast for the positive things that you have in your life as well. So that's number one or level 1 of responsibility is the emotional responsibility for our reactions. The second is the highest awareness and spiritual responsibility for attracting a specific person, circumstances, story, or trauma into our life. And when we take that responsibility, let's analyze our life right now. What haven't I liked until now? Okay? What type of relationship did I just lose? Or what type of relationship I was involved in that traumatized me? And now let's look at it from the perspective of assuming responsibility. This relationship has taught me. For example, when I was 29, I got married for 1 year with a lovely French woman, and that traumatized me. And after that, I understood what freedom actually meant. Before that, I didn't know. I didn't know what it meant to be bound like that, to have to take care of someone so much, to feel bad about being in a relationship or not seeing your friends and all the things that I wasn't allowed to do. And after that, I learned freedom. So when I thought about her for many, many years, it was traumatic. And then when I understood what was the lesson, what my guidance was telling me, I assumed responsibility for bringing myself into that relationship. And then when I forgave myself and I saw the benefits that I got from that, then all the amazing positive things that relationship has taught me started to come up to the surface. Because before that, I was resisting. And when you're resisting something, you're just going deeper and deeper inside into the fear of admitting that it was your responsibility. So number 3 is you begin assuming full responsibility for those things that number 2, that heightened awareness, brought you. You can do this in silence. It can just come naturally. You'll see that these energies are naturally going by us or through us. Sometimes it will be an awakening of your intuition for 1 second. Sometimes it will be a memory that you have absolutely no idea how it came to pass, but it just arrived for 1 second. Analyze that. Sometimes it's going to come as a dream. You're going to dream about somebody from high school. You're going to dream about somebody from your previous life. You're going to dream about something. So all these things, all these clues are around you in order for you to mature and continue letting go and accepting responsibility. And the last thing I can share with you that I feel is a lesson that has to do much more with humbleness. And that is that it is not our life. It is not your life. It is not only your experience. You are a heart cell in a body of creation, body of God, body of the universal body. If you want to simplify it for yourself, think about it that you are one cell amongst many, many human beings. And when I'm talking about it's not your experience, it is the global experience, and you're just one little soldier or little cell inside that huge thing. And the same thing can be said about your money. It's not your money. It's creation and the divine money that you are lending and using for a very short amount of time. It's not your body. It is a body that is used to achieve higher consciousness for God's experience. It is not your girlfriend or boyfriend. It's not your child. Nothing is actually yours. And I want you to think about that as you're experiencing this humbleness that these energies are going to bring. It solves a lot of problems because you have a relief. It's not my responsibility, in contrast to what I said in number 3. It's not my body. It's not even my experience. I'm here on a vacation. I'm a human being for a short amount of time, coming here to this heaven-like perception of earth, which I know that heaven comes from my own perception of how things are. I can see, I can see something as terrible, and I can see the same thing as amazing, as a positive thing. So that's the last thing. I want you to contemplate that. I want you to meditate on that. Wait a second, this is not even my experience. And instead of meditating on I am, start meditating on it is, he is, she is, creation is. And I am this humble little piece of grain of sand in all of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the things that you can actually expect. And you can really start resonating with them right now as your mind and body and spirit starts preparing yourself for these new energies that are coming. Wow, that was nice. Namaste, my friends. I will see you in my next video. If you want to, of course, deepen your spiritual process through a workshop, an intense workshop, come to Maor.com, seek me online, find me. Our processes and workshops are all inclusive. And I will see you in my next video.